Hello, everyone. Welcome to the River's Edge. I am your host, Kelli Rivers. And of course, Sammy Duke Rivers is in the house. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing Shamir Ladhani. Shamir is a heart math certified coach and trainer and teaches some of the most powerful and effective techniques that help individuals co-create their reality. He pieced together a practical approach to navigate the governing laws of co-creation based on his own experience. He set his sights on becoming an international speaker, sharing the stage with other metaphysical speakers like Cryon. He realized his dream in less than 2 years. Shamir is president of Panther Power Corporation, a consulting firm serving clients in the energy, utilities, nonprofit, and complementary health industries. Thank you so much for coming here, Shamir.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. It's a pleasure, and thank you all who are listening to this broadcast. Truly appreciate it.
Yes, so this is one of my favorite topics ever, is creating the life you want. And I saw some of your videos, because I follow some of Cryon stuff, and that's how I found you originally. And then you agreed to come on the channel and talk about what you know. So yay! Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoy poodles, because Sammy is always part of the video.
I love poodles. I love cats. I love these animals. They love me too. So it's a good relationship. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Sammy's very mean and feisty, but he seems to be okay for now. Okay. I want to talk about creating your reality, because so many people, this information has been around a long time about the heart-brain coherence and how to do it and how your belief system creates the reality. And you look at your job, you don't like your job, you do it for the money, and people have an 8 to 5, they come home, they get in the rut, they get in the routine. And how do you break out of that? And I know we've been hearing it from Dr. Joe Dispenza and those guys for so long, but people are still struggling with that. Why do you think that is?
There's a reason why they're struggling with that, is because they're looking for solutions outside of them. When we and I went through this. And I woke up, only later on. I think I'd say about a year, 2 years ago, I really woke up and realized something very interesting here. So when we're going through, and the example you cited, Kelly, was about a job. Somebody's stuck in a job in a rut, and you're going through that, and you're saying, how do I break out of this? How do I use what people like Dr. Joe or the Abraham Hicks people, The Secret? How do I use that to break me out of this job? The answer is simpler than the actual practice of doing that. And that's why many people have not broken through that barrier. The answer is that your belief system tells you that the only way for me to survive in life is to have a 9 to 5 job, or to have this particular job, or to have this much money coming in. That's a belief system you've established, and you are attracting that. The law of attraction is working exactly as it's supposed to work. And that is why it's a belief system that says this. Now, to leap out of that belief system, to actually say, no, I truly believe that I can quit this job right now. I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table tomorrow, but I trust myself and my ability to navigate out of any challenges, and I trust the universe to have my back. Completely trust, like a child, like a toddler, like a baby, newborn baby that has given us complete trust in their parents or in the adults that look after them, saying, I'm going to cry, I'm going to ask for food, but I trust completely that I'm going to be taken care of. With that particular attitude, one can break out of their current situation. And that's exactly what happened to me. I did not have the courage to break out of my situation when I was in the 9 to 5 job. I was a vice president of a Fortune 500 company. Somehow, through the work that I did on myself with, the metaphysical events that I went to, Cryon channelings, everything, you and I, we've gone through a lot of these things. All of a sudden, you start to shift your perspective, and your perspective of life is out of alignment with your behavior in life. And you come to a point where the two differ so much. And that's a gift. When you actually start saying to yourself, I'm going to move in this direction. I am going to break out of my current rut. I want to be expansive. I want to find joy in life. The angels sing and celebrate. And they said, finally, Now I'm going to help you. But in order to help you, they bring you at a crossroads of an existential conflict where you say, I truly believe that this is the way life is, except I'm living I'm behaving in my life as this based on my belief in the past, and this is the new belief. The key is no one's going to force you to jump into this new reality, force you to leap where there's no guaranteed net. The only net you have is your trust in yourself that you can actually prevail, and your trust in universe to have your back. With that, having said that, if you have that, and that has to come from within, it has to be so powerful, so strong. And once you set the intention that that's what I want to do, watch out for the signs, because you don't have to do anything after that. It'll come. For me, what happened was I hit a brick wall, and the brick wall was, I can't do this anymore. All of my shadows were coming up for reckoning. And I realized that, you know what? I need to move into this other area. I need to get out of this particular work. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to leap out. And that's what I did. I walked into my boss's office and said, please help me transition out. And the rest, the universe took care of. For 2 years.
Oh, 2 years
For 2 years, I didn't have to work because I was given the opportunity to have a huge parachute, the golden payout. And that's something I negotiated, and I didn't have to work for 2 years. And it was in that 2 years that I began to explore self. So my law of attraction was always active. It's not that I all of a sudden stepped into law of attraction. My law of attraction was keeping me in the old belief system. And it was that point of my own choosing, my own free will to move into this area with a leap of faith that allowed me to experience the life I'm experiencing now.
So before you quit your job, were you wanting to quit, and then you had to go review all your beliefs, like, okay, I am attracting the life that I have now, otherwise I wouldn't have it. So what are my belief systems, and what do I need to change in order to leap forward? Is that what you did?
Actually, not as systematic as that, because I was totally confused. When people are at a crossroads like that, and it's painful, because I had children. I was married at the time, and actually, no, I was divorced at the time, but I was paying, spousal support, and I wouldn't be able to pay spousal support after I quit the job, and that would impact my children, which were being served. So all of those things, I was totally confused. But there was this inner purpose that emerged that said, you'll be fine. As a matter of fact, I was so much in conflict with myself that I actually heard the voice. And I don't hear angels speak to me or spirit speak to me. But I was always asking this question: if I leap, will you catch me? Was before I even decided to quit. And one day, as I was waking up in that sweet, deep sleep that Joe Dispenza talks about, you're in that kind of theta state. As you're waking up, I heard a voice loud and clear: we will catch you.
Wow.
Even after I got that voice, and anybody can have access to that voice. If you're in that deep struggle, spirit will always answer. And even after I heard that voice, it took me months to summon up the courage to say, okay, I'm going to leap. So, there was no exploration. There's no systematic kind of understanding of, oh, you know what, my belief systems, I got to work on this, I got to work on that. It was merely me just asking the question to the universe and searching for something deeper, something more meaningful, something more a bigger connection. And I received samples of that, only samples of that, through my connection with the community that I found, my new family that I found through the Cryon events and all that. When I found that new community, I fell in love with that community. And that it didn't have to be, there were no words that say, Spirit, find me this. There was this feeling of, wow, this is what I want. And that feeling is what propelled me in this direction.
Wow. How did you get involved? So those of you guys don't know, Lee Carroll channels Cryon, and then Shamir became a speaker at the different Cryon events. And how did you get involved in that?
Like I said, I just let my feeling guide me. I never really asked Lee to put me on stage. What ended up happening was I was so much in love with this community. And every time I went there, I just went there to feel the energy of this community as a participant. And as I became more integrated in that community, I was asked to take on some leadership roles in volunteering, managing volunteers. And then pretty soon, I let them know I'm a HeartMath speaker and a coach. And all of a sudden they said, well, you should do workshops along with Cryon events. And then Leah and I became really good friends. And he says, okay, you're going to co-host this with me and Amber. And we became a trio doing workshops, in Germany and Italy and in Kananaskis, my own backyard. So it was organic. And this is exactly how law of attraction works. It's not forced. It's organic. You just do what you do out of the love of doing it, and the world will just come to you because you've got so much trust in the universe and your own ability to navigate through challenges.
I love it. So I've been in the semiconductor industry, and it had a lot of fun. I've been in outside sales my whole life, and it's been fun. But then after a while, it's like, okay, I'm tired of doing this. I really got into the whole coaching and the heart-brain coherence and working on your beliefs. And so I quit my job in 2019, September, and I had nothing lined up. And I'm like, oh, I just got to quit. I just got to do it. And I had nothing lined up. So I'm like, everyone's like, you're such a loser who quits their job and doesn't have something lined up. And I do, by the way. So I quit, and I didn't I didn't have a 2-year whatever you had lined up. So that's kind of sweet that you had that. So I just lived on savings.
Kelly, I had that because the universe knew that was my frame and makeup. I'm a very stubborn engineer. I tell people when I'm in my workshops, I say I'm a recovering engineer. Engineers and me are very stubborn. You, Kelly, the universe didn't see a need to give you a two-year runway. The universe knew you'd pick up.
It would be nice.
No, this is the truth. The universe will give you exactly what you need once you set the intention, and that's what happened for you. You're doing amazing, I think.
The 10 minutes we've known. You get a good feeling?
Well, no, I get a good feeling, and I've also seen your work. The reach that you have. The amazing energy that you exude. That's exactly what we want people to do. That's my job is to inspire people to get there and so they can propel on their own. They don't need you and I holding it in their hands. And as a coach, I know you know this, that you want to have them go from level 1 to level 3 and then let go of your hand and just sit back and just love what's happening out of that process.
Yeah. Well, I didn't work. Well, I did some consulting jobs on and off after maybe 3 or 4 months after I quit. And then I was working at a winery, which was super fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
That I loved. I'm like, this is awesome. Then COVID, the lockdown hit, and then everything shut down. So then they didn't do anything until the job I have now part-time, which is back in the semiconductor industry, I was like, I'll never do that again. But in a way, I'm grateful that I have that money coming in, because then I can do these videos and do the stuff that I love doing. But part of me felt like, oh, I'm going backwards because I'm now going back in the job, which I didn't want. But it is also supporting me until I figure out what I am going to do.
And one thing that I realized, Kelly, and this happened to me too. I was a very well-known entity as a professional engineer in North America. I led task forces. I was asked to go to New York to audit their power system, processes, as part of a international committee. So if you got that much of a cachet, if I quit my Fortune 500 job as a vice president, you would think that a month later somebody would pick me up on a contract. I'd be making a lot of money. All those doors closed on me. I could not get contract position in exactly what I was trying to do that you're doing now is I was trying to get a contract position so that I could keep the money flowing while I'm exploring self-development and see. So, the universe closed those doors on me. And so for me, in my life, in my context, that would not have served me. And that's why the universe, and I know the universe closed the doors because everything fell apart. But everything on the other side was opening up. I began to connect with other people and I started getting jobs here and there, contract positions. And I even got a contract position from a friend of mine, 2 people. One of them is a friend who I'm helping them grow their business. So, you mentioned about me working with complementary health organizations and other things. That's what's keeping me going right now, even though I'm doing what you and I are doing right now. So I do have these other ventures that are not related to metaphysical and coaching and supporting others in their personal journey, but it is what the universe feels best suits you and I in our own contexts to help us move forward. And so if you are getting a part-time job, that is exactly what you have attracted in order for you to, as a stepping stone for what you're doing. At some point, you'll get to a critical mass and say, okay, I'm ready to leave this and go here. But I think that's what's happening with you and I and others who can relate to this story.
Yeah, because you got to pay the bills at the end of the day. I mean, you have to have money coming in. I mean,
you do. And the way I'd like to look at it is the universe will always put something before you and you don't have to go after it. And that's the trust part of the universe. Because when you go after something, all you're going to go after is what you've known in the past. But what the life you want to create is in the unknown space, the one that you have not created before, one you have no idea even exists. Because if you knew if it would exist, it would also be something you would have been done in the past. So really, the life that we are all striving for is unknown to us, and unknown means fear, and that's where the heart-mind coherence comes in. Exactly. So this is the point, is that if we don't force ourselves on this, I have to do this marketing, I have to force this, I have to do this. If we just sit back and just broadcast the way we're broadcasting and let the universe come to us, that is the best way to know that the universe is putting pieces together. So the heart-mind coherence is very important as you're actually stepping out of one belief system into another.
Yeah. So how do you tell someone who asks you about changing what if someone has not worked on their beliefs at all and they are stuck in a 9-to-5 job? A job's just an easy example. I mean, there's tons of other ones, but someone who doesn't realize there's more to life, that they could be having so much more fun, but they're stuck on, no, I got to make this much money and pay my bills, and that's it. And that I'm so exhausted by the end of the day, and I'm too tired to do anything else. Like, what would your advice be to them?
Well, I actually had a similar situation, not on the job front, but on a more of a end of life front. So one of my clients, who's now my client, asked me, said, I've got an illness that looks like it's a terminal illness. I want you to help me build a legacy. So I don't know what I want, but I want you to help me build a legacy. So in her view, the only solution out, because she's been listening to physicians and all of those things, and she's a pharmacist herself, a very accomplished one. So the chemical solutions are always in her cachet of her toolbox, and that's all she knows. So I said, okay, I'm happy to help you do that. There's no judgment here, but I do want to open you up to another perspective. At that point in time, I started talking to her about the quantum physics perspective of life. So, for example, the stuff that Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, and others speak about, and so do I, and HeartMath is very strong in that, and there's lots of science behind that. I showed her how her energy field is something that she can change. And it would affect her physical body. And I said a simple thing, like, if there's somebody out there, I have two simple tests for them, practices for them. The first one I call a lemon test. Okay, and I'll share that with everybody, so you can do that yourself. And the second one is I show them the studies, and I'll briefly tell you that one first, and then we'll do the second practice. The first one, I basically say, 5 minutes of gratitude, just feeling intense gratitude. And you have to train your body to feel that. The first time you may feel gratitude, it may be superficial, but the more you do that, the more you'll create the ability of your body to actually access the frequency of gratitude.
Start with something, right?
Sorry?
Start with something easy, right?
Start with something easy. That is a deep gratitude with the dog. If you have a pet and you experience gratitude with the pet or love for that pet, I mean, that'll take you right there in that level of gratitude. Some people experience, oh, you know what, my, whatever, I love this food. I love this, French fries or poutine. Oh, but if you have deep connection with others, like your pet, that's where you go first. That's your first go-to place. So you experience gratitude for 5 minutes. It'll boost your immune system for up to 6 hours. Okay.
Wow.
That's a fact. Scientific proven.
Data. I've never heard that specific. 6 hours for 5 minutes. Wow.
6 hours, up to 6 hours. If you experience anxiety or frustration for 5 minutes, your immune system is suppressed for up to 6 hours. Okay. So this has been reported on, cited on, studied on, and HeartMath has this information, and they've published this stuff because they've actually done the saliva test to show how much of the immune proteins are in your saliva before and after of this. So that is a fact. Okay. So we say this and saying, look, when you are actually boosting your immune system, what's happening there is you're actually healing your body. The other thing we know about law of attraction is that when your attraction is matched by your emotions. Your heart has a magnetic field, and on this magnetic field are frequencies of your emotion, and those have been measured. If you're feeling frustration, the frequencies are chaotic on the magnetic field that goes out 5 to 8 feet, and they're also multidimensional. Some scientific hypotheses that have extended that study to say that that's even multidimensional field that we're experiencing. So when you're experiencing joy and gratitude, you are actually broadcasting a frequency of joy and gratitude that is very, very ordered, and you can see this on a spectrograph of frequencies. I mean, there's an actual study that's done that shows chaotic frequencies when you're frustrated and ordered frequencies when you are feeling gratitude and appreciation. So
Right.
we know that when we're broadcasting an emotion that is gratitude, it's all healing our body, but at the same time, it is sending out signals that I want to match this kind of feeling. So bring me whatever it is to match this kind of feeling. And that's how law of attraction really works, is you work from the inside out. Now let's talk about the lemon test, because this this is what people tell me all the time. Says, well, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm going to work, I don't want to be in this work, I go home, I'm tired, my life is a rut, how do I break out of it? And when I say to them, why don't you experience gratitude? Because that'll change your point of attraction and you'll invite more of that. As a matter of fact, what it'll do is it'll change your relationships at work, and you might even love what you're doing at work. All of a sudden, you'll become a success at work, and you'll love it. And maybe that's going to improve your life. And they say, well, if I'm feeling this crappy, it's because my boss is doing this or this person's doing that. And I said, fine. But you're always looking outside of you. And that's how we began this conversation, is that this person's causing this. So when you ask the universe, help me do something about this person, the universe will answer a question, only answer that exact question. But if you ask the question about how do I change how I perceive this other person, the universe will answer that question. So the lemon test is this: you can choose your emotion. And people don't believe that. When I say you're feeling in a rut and you're feeling this, sadness or grief, and I can't break out of it, I say to them, you know what? You're choosing to be there. And let me share with you something that I can demonstrate to you. Two things. First, I'll demonstrate to you that you can pick your own emotion at will. Second thing is I'm going to show you how thoughts create reality. And I guarantee you by the end of this practice, which is a 2-minute practice, you will be convinced. So shall we do this, Kelly? Shall we do this first?
You guys ready? Let's do this.
Right. Close your eyes, everybody. Just close your eyes. And in your imagination, outstretch your hand with a palm facing up.
Like this?
Yes. No, reaching out in front of you, palm facing up, like you're receiving something. So you can do that in your imagination. You don't have to do this in your physical hand. I just want this to be a pure imaginative exercise. So you close your eyes and your hand is outstretched in a receiving mode, either left or right hand, it doesn't matter, in your imagination. And now a wedge of lemon appears on the palm of your hand. And now I want you to bring that wedge of lemon to your mouth and bite into it hard. Okay, you can open your eyes. Now I guarantee you, most if not all people reacted. Their bodies reacted. They either salivated, they had a sour face, something that happened that caused them to cringe because it's so tart.
Yeah.
There's no lemon, physical lemon. Your hand it was just an imagination, but your body received a signal that caused it to create physical chemicals to run through your body that caused you to salivate, to cause your mouth to pout. Your thought just created a reality. And that thought was an emotion that triggered chemicals in your body. Now, if you can have an imaginary lemon trigger your body's chemical response,
So
you can
strong.
and it was a strong reaction, you can certainly trigger a compassionate gratitude emotion by thinking about your dog or by thinking about something that's closest to you. So thoughts create reality. You are able to create your own emotion. So when you're going to work, you almost, I was there, been there, done that. I would, if I have a meeting with a certain person that I always cringe to meet with, my body begins to react before I even meet that person. As a matter of fact, the night before, I'm creating chemicals in my body, setting the stage for attracting the very worst meeting in the world, because my emotions are saying chaotic. I want to be chaotic. I want to feel this way. I'm walking into this meeting and lo and behold, I've just attracted that. Okay. Now, something very interesting, when we talk about law of attraction, there's many multifaceted things that are happening within your body. Remember what I talked about is this bubble where you've got ordered frequencies and it's calming frequencies, because if it's ordered, it's very soothing. You walk into a meeting and you have a very powerful emotion of gratitude and appreciation. Well, if your magnetic bubble reaches 5 to 8 feet, that has been measured, physically measured, and you come into somebody's bubble and they're feeling anxiety, the one with the highest intensity of emotions is going to overtake the other emotion, because that's just physics. So you can actually,
someone comes to your table who's just a Debbie Downer, you're like, oh God, and this ruins the whole vibe.
It does, and you can turn that around by fixing it within yourself. And there are many practices to train your body. Your body, like I said, the solution is simple. The practice is the work that we do to transfer from that old belief system to the new belief system. And the techniques are available to help you move through that. But it's not a theoretical practice. It's not a hypothetical practice. It's a practice done when you're actually engaging life and you are triggered. When you are triggered, if you can just train your body to recognize, okay, that's a trigger. Okay, what is it in me that is a belief system that's causing this trigger? And then you do the techniques, heart-mind coherence technique, and then you'll get clarity. And you keep doing that, pretty soon your heart's going to flag something to you before that event even unfolds, so that you can begin the practice. We've actually seen studies where people's hearts have indicated an outcome before they actually see the outcome, and that study's been done and documented by those that are testing heart math techniques on different areas.
Yeah, so many people, like when you get in a habit, right, of like spouses that fight or fight with family members, and it becomes habitual, and it's just the same thing over and over again, and it's like they never break out of it. Yeah. So your advice is to stop and go, okay, why is this triggering me? Because it's always
my advice is twofold. One is to reflect after the fact, and just ask the question, okay, what is it? So the question is important. Questioning is important. What is it? What is in me that needs to be resolved in order for me not to be triggered in this way? Because that question will then have the universe give you the answers of something you can do for yourself to overcome the triggered reaction. Okay, so the questioning and how you ask the question is very important, because if you ask the question, what do I do about her or him? Right. The answer is going to be, well, you don't go to them or don't talk to them. Okay, but if you say, what is it in me that's causing this trigger? You've been there and I've been there where some of the people that used to trigger us no longer trigger us.
Right.
Because we've overcome the shadows within us that were triggering us before. And there are individuals that I just have a lot of compassion for. When they start doing things that used to trigger me and I would get angry, now I'm just feeling, okay, you know what, they're working through something, and I have a bit of compassion for that because I've worked through that shadow in myself, so that I recognize things differently. So to
Right.
me, that's the first thing, is that you extricate yourself from the situation and you ask the question. And then you don't have to answer that question yourself. The answers will come to you. It's a questioning that's the most important thing. The second thing is, express yourself when you are engaged in that situation where you're going back and forth. And this is the 15th time, same thing that came up. You're triggered, they're triggered, then the words to use is another body of work that I combine with heart math work. Is called, you may be familiar with it, emotional intelligence. It is to actually state and frame the words in a way that diffuses the situation. It's not, an example is, you are making me mad right now, would really escalate the situation. But if you say that, you know what, I feel really angry when I think about how you are behaving in this way, and then you use a little bit of Brene Brown. So the story I'm telling in my mind is that you are out to get me. That's the story that I'm telling myself. Can you help me rewrite that story and tell me why this is happening? You see how disarming that
Right.
approach is in the moment. So you combine the heart math technique with emotional intelligence technique and a little bit of leadership techniques, and you combine them all, and you will see that you can navigate through life very easily, and you won't have to hit the rock bottom before you can come back up again. Because a lot of people, in order to shift out of their current reality, have to hit the rock bottom. And there's a way to avoid doing that by combining these techniques, so that you can, right as you're engaging life, you can navigate through that and really break through without having to go through the rock bottom path.
Yeah, that's hard for a lot of, like, if someone's in the heat of the moment and they're really angry. I mean, it would take a lot of practice probably for them to be like, wait a minute, let me reframe this, let me read. But I mean, it's totally possible. It just takes some thought and some time to get used to.
It takes practice, but it doesn't take a long time. So, and the reason I say this, it's not about how long it takes, it's about how many practices you do. And I guarantee you that if you are always experiencing these things, you'll get a lot of practice. You can get through this in less than 2 weeks, and you will be able to, like, I've seen people, when I take them through the 21-day program, I see people within day 14 shifted completely. And it's just the beginning. And all you do is, after 21 days, just continue, and you will see organic changes. But you will see a step change within a matter of weeks, because you'll get a lot of practice, as long as you practice every time you get triggered. And that's the key. And you can do this. It doesn't take long.
I like it. Did you ever do any of the subconscious reprogramming, like listening to the 428 hertz or the 888 hertz or all that? Did you ever do any of that? Or like trying to reprogram with certain belief systems that you wanted to take on board?
Yes, but not using 428 hertz or whatever those hertz are. And I know what you're saying. They're the little frequencies that help you align with that. No, I've done some body talk work. That I've had body talk work done on me, psych done on me. What I find most effective for me, and certainly those things help. I look at it this way: they help shake loose the well entrenched belief systems, and then the other stuff that we do about diving deep in, it just cleans it up. So sometimes you need a huge, powerful force, like the frequencies that you mentioned, or psyche or body talk, to shake loose some of these things, so that you can clean up the rest after. So after having done some of these things and doing some meditation and working on myself, heart math stuff, emotional intelligence, and practicing, the way I work with my subconscious is exactly the way I would work with law of attraction. Law of attraction is not my specialty. My specialty is igniting from inside out and feeling joy and love and compassion. The law of attraction is just a byproduct of that. So the idea of me, whenever I'm triggered, And I do get triggered. People get triggered. When
We're
I get
human.
triggered, we're human. And you know what? It's a fallacy to think that, okay, you know what? Just because I am a heart math, expert, that I never get angry. I get angry lots. The key is when I get angry or triggered, it is in that moment that is a gift. There's a short window of time for me to ask this question. What is it in me that has a lot of fear about this situation? And in asking that question, it took me a few of these triggers to really get an answer. And the answer that I got for my own situation is that I feel that everything's got to be perfect or people are going to die. That's my belief system. Okay.
Okay.
If this is not perfect, people are going to die. And so I fight very hard in team meetings to try and get everything perfect in an imperfect world, in an imperfect framework. I want to get everything perfect so that nothing can go wrong, because people will die. I realize that as a belief system, and now I step back a bit. I don't get too excited about it. I know, and I trust myself and my team to be able to work through it if we are all inspired and motivated to work together. That is a belief system that didn't come through the external stimulus or stimuli that would allow me to break through that. Because in the end, if you really want to override a subconscious belief system, you have to ask your body and the universe, saying, show me and give me an inspiration, guide me what I need to know about overcoming this belief system. In the end, it is your own realization that has to come through, rather than you expecting something else outside of you to completely wash away. And a lot of people make that mistake, saying, I'm going to go to this healer. She's going to help me overwrite my subconscious system. I'm going to walk away and that's gone. And it rarely works, if at all, unless you truly get and work in there yourself. There is no substitute for that.
What about like past lives stuff coming through that's impacting you?
That's exactly, the perfection thing is a past life thing for me, because and I can't see past lives, not in the way others do. So others have a better view of them, but I've had many different people tell me that as my past lives included me being in charge of a country or in charge of an army, where decisions cause lives. And if I make a wrong decision, millions of people would die, thousands of people would die.
Right.
And that's directly related to my, because, even a small little project here, I get all excited about, oh my God, this is not going to go right. And people are going to die kind of mentality. So I've realized that. And that only came about because I asked the question, dove deep in, and trusting the universe will present answers in different ways. And sure enough, boom, it came through. And I realize now. So now that I'm, if I get into an engagement on a particular task or a project, this little thing reminds me, because it's now in the forefront of my thinking process, says, hey, this is your perfection thing, isn't it? And I would have this conversation. It would be a split-second conversation, but I would have this conversation in my mind and saying, okay, I can back off. Nobody's going to die. Everybody's going to be all right. And pretty soon, this will be back. So this was in the subconscious coming up here. I'm working on it. And now when I make peace with it, I brought it together. It's now rewritten my subconscious. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about it at all. I'm going to navigate through life as if everything's going to be workable. Nothing's going to fall apart. And away we go. I've just overwritten my subconscious belief by bringing it forth, working on it, shaping it. Every opportunity I get to engage life, it triggers me in this way, and I recognize it. I overwrite it consciously, and it goes back into my subconscious that way. That's how it's done.
And it's not a one-time thing, right? It each time it dissolves a little more, the strength of it, until it gets to be nothing. But it's not. I mean, it'd be nice. It was like, now that I recognize I have this belief, I choose not to believe it anymore, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's not. Nothing's that simple, but again, the belief system that people have is, this is going to be hard, this is going to be tough, it's going to take me years living in a monastery, cross-legged and chanting Om. It's not. This is not. We are designed, our bodies are designed to be able to rewrite itself, but we have to choose. This thing about free will that we have is a curse and a benefit too, because the free will is what's causing us to live the life we are living, because nobody's going to interfere. No spirit's going to interfere.
Right.
And it's a free will that changes a belief system.
Ah, it's so true, right? We have the belief to do whatever we want, and it's just at some point there's a waking up point that someone eventually hits. It's like, wait a minute, why can't I have that? I can have that life too. Like, what the hell? Why am I doing this over and over and over again?
Yeah, you know what? That happened to me before I had any knowledge of The Secret or anything in the New Age world. That happened to me because the universe is benevolent. They'll work with anyone, whether they are awakened to this particular avenue or not. I was a technologist. I always believed that I never had what it took to be an engineer. A technologist has 2 years of trade school, training. An engineer has 4 years of university training. And so I never believed that. So I became a technologist. Then I began to report to an engineer. I had friends who were engineers, and I looked at them, and in my mind, I said, I can do that. They're no better than I am. Why am I? As soon as the universe put those people in front of me, and I said, I can do that, I went and became an engineer. Not only did I become an engineer, I got my master's and got all straight A's in my graduate degree. I became a leader, in North America wide, leading task forces on complex power system issues, all because I saw the signs around me and says, I am no lesser than them. And that's really all it takes. That seed that needs to be planted is, I am no lesser than anybody else. We are all equal. We're all the same. And we all have, the universe supports us the same. With that belief system, you can conquer anything you want.
It's so true. It's who you hang out with, who you spend your time with too. So you were able to be around these people who you could see like, wait, I can do that too. Like I don't really have anyone spiritual in my life, and I really wanted to engage. And starting this channel has allowed me to engage with so many cool people, and people like you I would have never met before. And I love it. It's this whole lockdown has provided, because I started this channel last summer, and it's provided a great avenue to meet really cool people.
Right. And the struggle you went through in starting this new line, that's the leap that you made of trust. And when you make a leap of trust like that, you and I have experienced how the universe opens up.
Totally.
One step.
Yeah.
And this is an example. Let this serve as an example to those who are listening who want to get out of their rut. It's got nothing to do with me or you helping them out. It's about them saying, I want out of this, and be really strong in their experience of that. You may have lots of examples of this. I had an example once when I heard a cryon channeling. I have to tip my hat to Lee Carroll for coming into my life, because I asked for that. And one of the cryon channelings is that, karma is old energy, and you can actually will to get out of karma. And all you have to do is just set the intention. And, something in me told me that really that resonates true. I don't know why, but I believed it. And I sat there and I said, I want out of this karma. I want out of my karma. I want to enjoy life. I want to experience life. I kid you not, everything fell apart and everything rebuilt again. I started getting promoted at work. My relationship ended with my then wife, and then I started moving in this direction. All I did was sat, and I just said with pure intention that I want karma to end, and I want everybody that's around me to be happy. And my kids are thriving. My ex and I are still talking. We're good friends. These are the kinds of things that will happen with something that you start from within and create a pure intent from here, and look inside of us. So that's an example. I'm sure you have many of those examples as well.
I like that. So there's people have different beliefs on karma, right? They're like, well, karma doesn't really exist. It's not really a thing. But then some people say, no, you have to, whatever thing you've done in the past, you have to rectify or reconcile. And I like the way you do it. I believe that if it's an intention and you can clear all of it, and you don't have to you're not meant to suffer every day of your life. It's like recognizing it and letting it.
Let's put it this way. Who designed my life? Who designed your life? Well, it was me outside the veil designed this life. And so I basically said, outside the veil, in the old energy, that I want to play this karma out, and this other soul and this other soul, we're going to be enemies, and this one will be friends, and we'll kill you, or potentials will be there for me to kill, all of those things. And we go birth. I'm the one driving that karma. That's my design.
So you can stop it when you want.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference, Kelly, is the fact that in the old energy, and when we talk about old energy, we're talking about before 1987, before the harmonic convergence. Too much to go into right now. We don't have much time, but
Another day.
another day. The old energy, it was tougher to actually set the intention and allow that intention to grab a hold, because the veil was a lot thicker. But the mechanism is the same. Those that had that real strong, deep vibration, high vibration, were able to break through the thick veil. But now in this new energy, a simple intention of this, and really sincerely saying that this is what I want, the veil is so thin that gets right through, and you start creating what you want.
It does feel a lot thinner now. It feels so different than just a year ago. I love it.
But
so if you guys have any questions, please write in the comments. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So the other thing is, if people are still believing that you have to go through karma and all that, that's the reality. That's the design, and the universe is going to fulfill that. If you want to stay in karma, you can still stay in karma. I know that, but people may choose that. Some people may choose the comfortable place, where if I'm arguing with this person, it's a comfortable argument. There's this unknown person that I could be more friends with or in a relationship with, but I don't want to leave this person because I know this is an unknown thing and I'm afraid of the unknown. People want to live like that. The universe has no judgment. They hold space and allow you to experience that because you have designed that, and that's your free will.
If someone's in a lot of physical pain every day, and so we know that physical pain is manifested emotional pain, right? Or emotional pain manifests into physical pain.
Yeah.
So if they're in so much physical pain every day and they're having a hard time, we know people that are always grouchy, miserable people. But what if they're in a lot of physical pain, they're having a hard time snapping out of that? Then what do they do?
Well, that's a good question, because it's a multi-leveled response to that. And the first level is this: look, if you take a plastic that you bent out of shape and it doesn't return back to its original bound space, you will need external support to bring it back to shape. Okay. However, if the field around that plastic, for example, is the one that caused it to bend, you can bring it up physically and you let it go. It's going to be fine for a little while, but then the energy will cause it this way. So it's a two-pronged effect. First, we must deal with the pain. And so you may need chemicals, you may need pharmaceuticals to get rid of that pain and to bring it back to this. And then you deal on the energy level so that you get to the root cause, which is the energetic cause of that. If you have a plastic that's bent and it doesn't come back up, and you work on the energy will be ready to manage this, but it may not be enough to pull this up quicker. So therefore, you need to have the external support, like physical manipulation, massage, whatever, even chemicals. Use Advil or whatever other kind of more powerful drugs to get you back. But then the idea is to stay there. This happened to me in terms of not pain but symptoms. I was diagnosed with diabetes type 2. High cholesterol, high blood pressure. Heck, I was taking medications to counteract the side effects of other medications. That was me. And I was 50 pounds overweight. One day I decided that, there's got to be an answer outside of the medical field. I respect the medical field. I respect the work that they have done to support and serve us in a way, but it's not something that I want to be hooked on. And the belief systems out there saying that, as you age, your diabetes will become worse, you'll need insulin. That's a path that my physician laid for me. And I decided, no, that's not the path for me. And I began asking the question again, same thing, asking the question, how can I get out of this? I truly believe I can get out of this. I created that reality. I'm off most of my diabetes medication. I'm the healthiest that I've ever been. I lost 50 pounds. I feel great. And my physician, when I went in there, he says, look, I saw your blood test results. And if I didn't know you have been branded as diabetic, I can't tell from your blood results. He says, this is robust. All of that, not because the universe just magically got rid of the disease, because the universe brought to me nutritionists, naturopaths, insights. Sometimes I get this Facebook ad program that will come up and say, oh, that's what I need. All of these signs come to you when you ask the question, how do I get rid of it? So to me, when somebody's in pain, to go back to your earlier question, the idea is, what does their belief system say about that pain? Does it say that I'm always going to be, always going to have rheumatoid arthritis? This pain is always going to be there when it dips below 30 degrees. Are they saying that? And if they're saying that, that is a reality that they truly believe and are creating. But if they say, I can beat this pain. I mean, the perfect example is Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza was paralyzed.
Right.
And
well,
right. And he worked himself out of that. And now he's the epitome of the most physical fit person, and law of attraction. I mean, he spins gold whenever he does things. So, if you truly believe, and the universe will give you examples like that all over the place, that if you truly believe that I can break through this, and then you work on your emotions, because when you're in pain, it's hard to be in gratitude. It's hard to put on a smile,
right.
But it's practice. So if somebody's in a lot of pain, I'd say, yes, keep taking medications to start getting you stabilized, and then inject gratitude. And then I tell people, when you do the practices like heart-mind coherence practice, along with other mindset-related practices, I said, check your test results, because you're going to need less and less of the medications, because your body will begin to start working a lot more efficient. And this is science. When your body becomes more efficient, you need less medications. That's exactly what happened to me. I don't have the back pains I used to have 20 years ago. I don't. And the reason is because I was inspired to go and do hot yoga. I just came and said, I was just all of a sudden woke up one day, I want to do hot yoga. And I got lots of inspiration. As soon as I did that, back pain gone.
So you think it was a physical thing? It wasn't emotional, any mental stuff that you cleared to make the pain go away?
I think it was an emotional thing that caused the physical thing. But then I worked on the physical stabilization as well as the energy stabilization, so that the root cause does not cause that to become worse. Like my diabetes has not become worse because I'm dealing with that and dealt with that energetic field at the same time as I use medications to stabilize my body. So sorry.
Oh, did you get to the root cause of your back pain?
Yeah. I didn't get to the root cause of my back pain in terms of, this is why I have back pain. But it just healed. So this is the other part, right? Many healers are practicing a way, modalities would say that you must know exactly where this comes in order for you to heal. And I'm here to tell you, and a living proof of that, you don't need to know. You just need to. You don't need to know. If you know, if the universe gives you an insight, it's because you need to know to heal that. But if the universe does not give you an insight and it's healed, don't worry about it. It's all good.
I don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
There's the corpus of body. A good friend of mine actually teaches biodecoding, and she talks about the fact that there are some diseases, actually all diseases in her mind, but some diseases that you can actually resolve as soon as you understand the root cause of that. And when you understand the root cause of that, it's like bringing it to your conscious level. Then you can do exactly what I was doing with my perfection thing, right? You work on it, and every time you feel that pain, you do this and you work on it and all that. So sometimes if the universe wants you to know what the source of that pain is so you can recognize it and resolve it, you will get that. I guarantee you will get that.
Right. They're not going to hide it from you. I'm always interested in diet and taking care of your body, because so many people have these, I'm not a believer in you have to do anything one way, because everyone's so different. And everyone is so like, you have to be vegan if you want to ascend and be a spiritual being. And I just don't believe that. I believe that your connection with spirit is your connection with spirit, and you eat whatever you want. But then your body does gain weight if you eat certain things. Is that a belief system? I think that's all a belief system. Like I believe that if I eat this, I'm going to gain weight. And it's food is so complicated, especially in the United States. Everything's food. Everyone's eat. And but people drank poison and lived because they believed that they would not die from it. Well, I can't remember what country that was in, but you know what I'm talking about, when they drank poison and they didn't die.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no different than a placebo effect, right? I mean, when you take a sugar pill and somebody tells you this is going to cure your headache, the headache's gone because you've convinced your body that this is
Yeah.
going to cure a headache. So in terms of the actual food and what to take for your body and all of that, the important aspect is this: that when we eat food, are we eating because we're hungry, or are we eating because it's time to eat? And that's the question. There's a story about this native man who went to visit his son. His son said, "Hey, Dad, I've got this job in this ivory tower. Come join. I'll buy you lunch, Dad. Why don't you come?" So the dad lived in a reservation. Decided to go to the big city. And came and sat at 11:30 in the lobby, waiting for the son to come downstairs from the 12th floor or wherever he was. And the son came down at about noon or so. The son came and said, "Hey, Dad, let's go for lunch." And Dad said to the son, he says, "It's really funny how everybody gets hungry at the same time," because he saw a drove of people leaving at the same time. And he looked at his son and says, "And how come people get hungry at the same time?" And what he doesn't, the story behind that is that you're no longer listening to the body clock. You're listening to the environmental shaping of how you should behave. And so the idea here is once you start listening to your body, and your body will tell you, today I want to eat donut. Well, go and eat donuts. The thing here is that when the fat storage that happens in your body happens because you are giving signals to your body saying, we need to store this because there's danger coming. We will need sugar. We would need a source of energy for the future. Now, I've caught myself doing this. I've caught myself. I do intermittent fasting and I do low carb diet, and I feel amazing. And that's the reason why my blood sugar levels have been so robust. And that worked for me, not for everybody else. It worked for me because my body is that type. And so when I did that, I now don't feel hungry, but I feel there's emotion that says if I don't eat now, I'm going to get hungry later, and then I won't be in a place where I can get food. All of these emotions start surfacing. And that's the belief, right? That's the belief system I have to set aside. And so I have to work with and say, no, there's going to be enough. And I trust the universe. Remember, trust the universe is going to provide. And I'm going, the universe provided for Moses and the slaves for 40 years in the desert. So who am I, right? So it's the emotions. It's the emotions that really cause you to decide whether you want to eat or not. And that's what you start bulking up in the wrong way because you're not listening to your body. And it's a practice. I'm still working on that. I haven't perfected it, but I'm on my way. I'm working the puzzle just like everybody else is.
It's deep-rooted beliefs around food for sure. We have a question where I can actually post it right here.
Sure.
How do you raise? Oh, hi, Angela. Can you read it? How do you raise vibrations of a hypochondriac, super duper negative about everything in life friend? I'm trying so hard to help my friend that I'm staying with for a bit, but woo, she's a doozy.
So, Angela, my response, you may not like my response or you may like it. I don't know. But my response is this. Why do you care what your friend's response is to their lifestyle? What is it in you that's triggering you when your friend is behaving in this way? And that is the question I ask you. I used to want to change people because you and I, Angela, you've been there, Kelly's been there. We know that there's such a better approach to life, that we can be more joyous. If that person only did what we did or what we know they can do, their life would be forever shifted. And we have this and we want to share, but if they're not ready to receive it, then you are just engaging in this unhealthy relationship of push-pull, and to me, it's not worth trying to change somebody and their belief system if they're not ready to. I would say this, just much like what has happened for me, and I suspect Kelly, people would come to you and say, okay, how did you do this, Shamir? How did you do this, Kelly? I mean, I see that you've shifted in this way, or I see your life going in this direction. How do you do it? And they come to me, and then they're open to receiving this information. And so I ask you this, Angela, how do you inspire this individual to open up, to receive, and say, I want to be like you, Angela. I want to think like you. How do I do this? At that point in time, they're going to be open to receiving the information you're going to provide them. So does that help?
Here, she wrote something. She's been her friend for 30 years and she loves her like a sister. But you're staying with her right now, right, Angela? So that makes it difficult to be around if it's on, every day. So if you could get not living with her anymore, move, that would be a big help. But yeah, you can't force someone to want to be happy.
As a matter of fact, you're past the point where you should have stopped trying and just allow her to be. And you know what? Here's the thing. It is your triggers that you're trying to address through this process. And that's what we've been talking about all along, is it's making you uncomfortable because of the exchanges that you're having with her. So your immediate response is, how do I help her so that our exchange can be more meaningful? Yeah. So, maybe the question to ask the universe is, what is it in me that needs to resolve so that I can actually accept this person for whatever they're doing? And the answer may just be what Kelly said. You know what? This is a parting of ways. Maybe that's the right answer. And maybe there's somebody else out there who can help you create a more deeper relationship.
Yeah, I didn't mean forever. I just meant move out of her place. But she's staying with her, she says, while she's dealing with her mom's estate.
Yeah. Which means that you just have to deal with it internally, because it's a losing battle if you're trying to change that person, but it's not a losing battle when you ask inward, and you will see that the shift will happen immediately in your perception of them. It will happen immediately. You'll find coping mechanisms very quickly to address that.
Yeah, to people that are close to you, that are her friend in her case, or family, when they are so negative like that, right? And they're close to you, so you don't want to have them not be in your life. So, yeah. But you can't force someone to change either. So I think just limit your time around them. Sorry, he's having a moment over here. Sammy, he's growling at me. He's crying. He's growling. He's crying.
Oh. No, maybe he has something to say about this topic.
Sammy, do you have any words of wisdom? No.
Well, you know what? He said love. I'm sure he did that.
He's something. She said, Angela says, thank you.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Angela. The last statement you said is a powerful, packed statement. And I'll tell you why I think that is. You have just received some information from Kelly and I that reinforced your own intuition. And that's the punchline for this entire segment, is the fact that your intuition has always been telling you something, but it's only when you hear it from outside of you that you trust yourself to move forward with that intuition. And I think the practice here is less about your friend, more about you, is how do you trust your intuition more and just move forward with that and not look for anybody else's blessing to move forward with your intuition. There's something that spirit is always kind of talking to you about. So I think that's a takeaway for you, Angela. If you want to do that, try that.
I like that. Speaking of, you mentioned a past life earlier. I had a lady do a past life reading for me just last week. Yeah. And she creates a drawing for you. Have you ever had anyone do that before? She creates a drawing of what you look like. Do you want me to show you the picture?
I would love to see that.
So she wrote I know. She wrote a whole, I was a man from Portugal and I wanted to go live out. I was working nonstop with my parents in their bakery. And I had no life. And at, I think 23 years old, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm living my life for them. I just want to go out and live my dreams. And he took a ship to go to the United States, the land of opportunity. And he died on the way there. And the left going like, if you chase your dreams, you'll die. So that was a belief.
Oh, wow.
I know. I'm like, holy crap.
Wow. That is awesome.
I know it was a big one. So I'm like, well, so am I clearing that now because we've done that work and we?
Oh, yeah, you've sailed on a ship and you've hit the port. That's you.
That's
You're
the
a
guy.
handsome man. You're a handsome man.
Right?
That's awesome.
Her name is Lietta LaFontaine, if anyone wants, but she's an artist anyway. But yeah, she does these amazing drawings.
Maybe I'll get the name for fun. I would love to get her to draw a picture of me.
Oh yeah, she can do it.
Yeah, maybe
she lives in Canada. Maybe your neighbors.
Oh, cool. Maybe she'll charge me in Canadian dollars and not some of that US crazy money that we have to pay through our nose for.
Yeah, let me see if it has her address on. Oh, it doesn't. I don't know where she is in Canada. I think Vancouver area. Where are you in Canada?
I'm in Calgary, which is close to Vancouver. We're a province away from them on the western area of Canada.
Okay, nice. Okay, here's another comment for you. Mora, as I've got older, I have realized that stress is the enemy. I can't deal with very negative people. They almost enjoy it. They will only drag you down.
Yeah, this is, and I can comment on this. Thank you, Moira, for that. And that's a good start to a process where you can actually work on getting out of that feeling of negative people. We talked about earlier about how when you have a person who's experiencing anxiety, anger, generally negative emotions, and if you are experiencing gratitude, appreciation, compassion, whoever has the highest intensity of that emotion will actually transform the other person. So here, in this instance, in this example, it sounds to me like you're feeling frustrated, they're feeling frustrated. Your chaotic frequencies are adding together to make the overall experience more frustrating. And if you were to practice shifting into that state of coherence, of gratitude, appreciation, and you don't have to do it while you're engaged with them, but you practice every morning when you wake up, you're in the shower, you practice gratitude, and just feeling gratitude is enough to reshape the bubble, the magnetic bubble. And then when you walk into a room and somebody's feeling negative, you will be able to shield yourself or transform them so they'll feel better and they'll want to be around you because you've got such a powerful, positive energy. And that's my answer to it. The practice, again, is the key. I hope that helps, Moira.
That is so true. Like, it is so infectious when you're around someone. That's what I loved about you. As soon as I saw your face, I was like, his picture, it's like such great energy. Then I saw your video. I'm like, I love this man. He must be on my show.
Thank you.
Because you have wonderful energy. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, here is another comment. My husband is not into meditations and visualizations. Since I am the creator of my own present and future, can I include him in my visualizations? Can she bring him along?
You got her. And so including him in visualizations is not the same as having him change his life. Okay. The including him in the visualizations, and the trick about visualizations, because that is a part of shifting your point of attraction, is to visualize a relationship that is benefiting you. And he could be used as an icon in that particular visualization as a representation of the kind of relationship you want to have with a husband. And when you start practicing that, one of two things may happen. And be careful what you wish for. One or two things may happen. One is that he will automatically sense your energy field and begin to transform, because we are affecting each other energetically. There's no question about that. I can show you quantum physics studies that show that my smile has an energetic frequency that will be available to you if you want to tune into that frequency. So, when you visualize and you see and you experience the husband of yours in a certain way, and you experience that, one of two things will happen. The husband will either begin to pick up on that frequency and shift organically into that frequency, or will leave you and you will part ways. Okay? Because what you're targeting for is a certain relationship. And if the physical place that you're in right now cannot facilitate that, it will rip you out of that. So that's exactly what happened to me. Is I got ripped out of my physical relationship. I got ripped out of my company, my career relationship. Doors just shut close on me. But now I'm looking at this saying, I wouldn't have done anything different. This is beautiful. Working with people like Kelly and yourself, and you know, just connecting with all of you. This is beautiful. I love it. And this is my dream. So it'll feel painful at first, or it may just come back and feel blissful. But the choice is your husband's to shift into matching you in your life. And that's the key.
I like that. It's so true. It's like you're not changing his life so much. It's just that you're the energy with your relationship, right? Sorry, he's being a hugger. He likes to hug.
Oh, I love that.
Because you're being different and you're giving off different energy of what you desire, that it's going to impact him as well.
That's exactly right. You know, Spirit has given us free will. You know, if you think about Spirit, God, whoever it is that you define as being something that greater than ourselves, has allowed us to experience free will. So what gives you or I the right to exert our free will on somebody else? They have their own free will, and we need to honor their free will. And that's what this is a choosing of your own and your own path in a visualization. That once you visualize the icons in there, your husband, your children, whoever, and you experience that visualization, you fall in love with that reality as in a visualization. Then the next step to really activate it is to get rid of the icons and just sit with the feeling. So it's a blank slate. You're in this dark void space in your visualization. After you've actually created the feelings of this relationship, set aside the people that are in your visual and create a blank slate, like a dark space, and just sit with the feeling. And that's really what the creative process is, because the unknown will then become possible for you.
So exciting. It's so true. We do create our reality, and it's a choice all the time. And when you wake up and it's a Monday morning, and you're like, oh God, I don't want to do this. And you're like, wait a minute, it only takes a minute to snap out of it.
It
right?
does.
It would just be conscious intention. And what do I intend to feel, and get into that gratitude feeling.
You know, one of the things that we spoke about Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of the things that he does say is to get people to say, universe, surprise me today. Surprise me today. And the reason he asks you to pray that way when you wake up in the morning is because the life that you want is in the space of the unknown. You haven't experienced it. Because if you had experienced it, it's the life you have. So if you haven't experienced it and you want to go into a different space, it's the unknown. And the only way you're going to get into that unknown space is to be surprised. So I got a call from Kelly. Hey, would you like to do this? That was a surprise. So universe, surprise me is a beautiful prayer.
I love it. You got to be open to it, right? That's part of it too. Like things can happen and you don't even notice it.
That's right.
Right. We got to highlight this comment right here. He's a
I totally agree with Brenda. I just love the way the connection. There's no better feeling of gratitude that you can have when you actually experience this love, this unconditional love.
I love him. He's a beautiful thing. He got a pet psychic reading on Sunday, Shamir.
Awesome.
Yeah. He's got some issues he's working on. It's okay. We all have issues, Sammy. It's okay.
Yeah. But Sammy is being healed right now. Well, one of you is being healed. I don't know who it is.
For both, all of us.
Yeah, we are all being healed. But I just love what's happening in that picture. And I definitely agree with the other comment that it just picks me up and lightens me when I see this exchange between you and your beautiful dog.
Sammy Rivers.
Yes,
well, thank you. Our hour is already up. Can you believe it?
That's fast.
I have another interview at 1:00, and it's not an interview. It's just a weekly chat I do on current events.
Great.
At 1:00. But I like these videos. They're so fun. They're so uplifting. You got to come back.
I have to come back. This is there's so much to talk about for sure.
I know. We'll have to keep it going.
We have to keep it going.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. And thank you guys for joining in, and I appreciate your questions. So nice. Thank you, Shamir.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Bye.